What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Kruppen, and on today's episode, I have a guest, and I'm super excited. I'm excited to welcome back Kohl. Kohl was on the podcast, I want to say maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago. It was episode 19, I believe, and we're at episode
Dang.
one. You're going to be episode 103. So, Kohl, welcome back to the pod.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited. A year and a half ago, it seems, honestly, feels longer. I'm surprised it was that recent. And you busted out almost 100 podcasts in the meantime. That's crazy.
Uh, Tell me about it. Time flies, and that's what I tell people. Like, time's gonna go by anyways. You can either do something with your time or not, because it's still going to pass. But dude, what's been up with you? What's going on?
Yeah, great question. A lot. A year and a half ago, I definitely thought I had a lot more together than I did. So I don't know. In the meantime, I've just been kind of grinding a little bit. We've been building out our systems. We built out like a training program for our techs. I've been working our dog grooming salon and trying to get those to where they can actually feed each other clients. And for the most part, that's it. I've kind of been in the weeds a little bit. We've grown quite a bit. I don't remember how big we were at that point, but I think we're close to double that, is what I'm guessing. And yeah, I don't know. I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of bigger names coming into the pet waste industry as well. People who know a lot more than anyone else knew 2 or 3 years ago when all of us were just kind of like solo scoopers. And I've really been trying to pick their brains and learn a lot. And I didn't know what I didn't know back then. And we're just trying to make a significantly more clean brand. That's been a big thing. We're working with Adam right now. And yeah, we're doing it all. There's so much. That's what's so much fun about business, actually. It's infinite. You can just always get better. There's always new ideas and new people coming into the space who can teach you.
Man, that's so true. There's a lot there. So you're working with Adam. You're working on your brand to clean it up. You own Sandia Pet Waste Removal, and is it pronounced Lollipops Grooming?
Yeah. Well, so we bought the grooming salon. We're coming up on 2 years.
Uh-huh.
It's called Lollipops Grooming. When I bought it, it was just a solo groomer in there, and it was actually called Lollipops and Kit Kats 2 with the number 2 on it for some reason. I didn't think that was super brandable, but I wanted to keep the base and kind of have it be memorable because it's in a great part of town, and it was there for like, I think it was like 8 or 10 years. So I wanted something similar. So we shortened it down. We clipped it down just to Lollipops, which luckily we could grab the domain for, we grabbed the trademark for, and it's been going good. So we've grown from just me. At first I was renting out the rooms over there, and then just to groomers and just supplying the space. But now everybody's W-2. We have 6 groomers over there now and a receptionist. And this Sunday, actually, we have a grand reopening where we rented out the unit next to it as well. We made it into a full pet store. And then that part opens this Sunday, which we're not quite ready for, but we'll see how it goes.
You're gonna get ready. All be beautiful. The last time we talked, kind of going back to a couple, like when we chit chatted, like a year and a half ago, whatever the timeline's like you said, you don't know what you don't know, and the industry is changing. I was thinking about that this morning, and I was talking to my husband about it, and I was like, there are people that have business sense and they know what they're doing, and they're coming into the space, and it's scary, it's overwhelming. It's one of those things where it's like, whoa, you really got to pull it together, and you really need to learn stuff, and you need to move quick in this industry to keep going. I think it's still a wonderful industry. But my question, so like, what did you take from the poop scooping experience that you had, and what did you take to move it over to the grooming business? Like, stuff that you learned, things that you didn't learn, like how did that work?
That's a great question. A lot of that is people. I've done probably 2,000 interviews now for the pet waste because you got to go through quite a bit to find a good tech. And kind of, I have a good sense of who's going to work out and who's not now. And that's really what it is with groomers. It's kind of a hit or miss. They're very the average groomer is a very opinionated, very intense person,
Yeah.
and that's across the board. I worked at a grooming salon when I was in college. That's kind of why I was interested in the space when I saw the opportunity pop up. And what I kind of took away from that is I was researching the area, see our competition, and poor branding, didn't have a lot of Google reviews, website was bad. There's quite a few things that I could then take for that I learned from the pet waste, which was my very first business, ever. I started when I was 20, I believe, and I've just kind of been learning through messing up all along the way, and nowhere near where I want to be, but I learned a decent amount what good branding looks like, what a good website looks like, what a good process or like a sales script looks like, and we've tried to merge that into the grooming. It's still an ongoing process, but the nice thing about the grooming is it's a known industry. It's everybody needs their dogs groomed, and we've grown that significantly faster than I grew the pet waste through the first 2 years. So I'm really excited about it, and the pet store side of it is going to be a whole new thing for us. We're probably going to be messing up a lot, and we'll try and figure it out as we go.
There's a really good podcast called The Pet Shop Girls. You should check them out. It's Carly and some other chick, I can't remember her name, but they talk all about pet shops, brand, like different brands, different things to like move product. So check them out. I'll include a
That's a
link
great
down.
point. I think I've heard of them
down.
actually. My co-owner, I have a co-owner with the grooming who uh, probably the best decision I've ever made is taking on a co-owner with the grooming who is a groomer. Uh, and it's very hard to get groomers to listen to your ideas and things when you can't do the actual job that we have, that we're providing, the service that we're providing. No one would want me grooming their dog. So I found a phenomenal groomer who just didn't have the opportunity, but she had the skill and she had the mannerisms to run a salon. So me and her work hand in hand with everything going on there. I think she's mentioned that podcast before, and she gets a lot of great stuff from it.
Yeah, check it out. But I want to go back. I'm not going to skim over this because people in the listeners will be like, Erica, why didn't you ask him about hiring? You said you've hired over 2,000 people. That's a huge issue that a lot of us scoopers have. We're maxed out. We're like, oh, how are we going to hire? Can you talk about that? What does the ideal hire look like when you're going through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to clear up a little bit. I definitely haven't hired 2,000 people, but I've interviewed at least 2,000.
That's what I meant. Thank you.
I wish I
Interview.
had hired 2,000. We would have a very, very large scoop company. Uh, but yeah, from between the last interview we had, I think our main subject then was hiring, and now we it's very similar. It's very much a numbers game. You just want to get the right people in. We vet their resume on Indeed, and then if it looks like they have any kind of structure, with holding a job long term.
What does long term look like for you?
For me, it's at least a year. If I have a scooper who we have multiple scoopers who stayed multiple years with us, but if I have a scooper who stays a year, that's a win for me. It's hard. It's hard work. You're out there scooping poop. People think it's easy, but you are. It's snowing right now. If we could see the ground, we'd be out there. It's been raining the past 3 days. We've had scoopers out all day long. That's hard. No one wants to be outside just wet all day long scooping dog poop. It's not an. I call it a simple job, not an easy job. We have you have a very limited kind of set of responsibility, but you're in the elements. The elements are tough. So we really try and get from the person that in front of us that we're interviewing had worked outside. If you've done something for a long period of time that's kind of more on the grueling side of work, and those are the people who end up working out well with us, how they speak with us, if they come presentable, they're on their best behavior in that interview, and they're going to be on their best behavior probably for a month or two while they're with us. If they're showing signs of not being a great employee in the interview, it's only going to get worse from there. So we do have to go through about 50 people before we find a good candidate, and those aren't encouraging numbers, but we do it, and that's kind of part of business. Is just not quitting. Just keep on running through them until you find a good team member, and hopefully they stay for a while.
Now, what would be your tip to a solo scooper that's maxed out, they're tired, and they're trying to hire? Are you trying to pick a day throughout the week and do a bunch of interviews? Do them in the evening? Do them in the morning? What would you suggest to
Yeah,
somebody like that?
absolutely. That's a great question. In the beginning, being a solo scooper is so much fun, but it's tiring because you're wearing every hat known to man. And I know, I think I hired when I was about 145, 150 clients, if I remember correctly. And I was getting right about to the point of like, that's about what you can do in a week without killing yourself. And I believe I was holding them like from 5 to 7 after it was getting a little darker. And you just have to do it when you're a solo scooper, right? You're trying to build your business. That's the hardest point of your business. The bigger you grow, the easier it is because you got a lot more working room. But in the beginning, you're limited on time. You're limited on knowledge, most likely. You're just trying to scrap things together and make your little business work. I was doing things in the afternoons. I was doing them really early in the morning. I was very lucky to find my very first employee was the guy who reached out to me. I put up a Facebook ad, which I found out after him does not work for hiring for us. Uh, I was very lucky to get him off of that. He was the first person who reached out. Everyone else was uh, horrible fits for us, but he worked out. He's still with us. He's our lead tech today. I was I was very lucky that I got a great person right off the bat who really alleviated my time where I could grow our business and we could grow pretty quick.
So, what does your lead tech take care of?
Yeah, he's a family man. So the longer he's been with us, the more simple he wants his job to be. But in the beginning, it was a lot. He was taking care of regular houses. He did all the initials. Now he only does our initials, and then I believe on Mondays he does regular clients and training. So if we have a new tech come in, they'll work with him for on Mondays and Tuesdays. On Mondays they'll do regular houses. On Tuesdays they'll just go ahead and do initials with them. But now his job's pretty simple. He's kind of like our leader in terms of he's been here the longest. He scoops every yard phenomenally. He's maybe had 1 or 2 callbacks in 3 years now, and which makes me feel good because we have other techs who get a callback once a month, and it's kind of a pain. But yeah, for the most part, he takes care of our first clients. We want to make a great first impression, and he's the one I feel confident that can make a great first impression for us. If you take a look at our Google reviews online, he is mentioned in about 25% of them. It's really important for the longevity of a client to have a great first service. You know, if the client has a gripe maybe a couple weeks later, if they had a phenomenal first couple experiences with us, they're going to give us a second chance in case we mess something up. It's very, very important for the lifetime value of your client.
So, how many technicians does he oversee?
Technically, he oversees all of them in a way. We need to get this a little more structured than we have it. We also have an office manager outside of myself. She primarily oversees the technicians in terms of, we're monitoring them throughout the day, making sure they're adding gate pictures, making sure if they skip a house, they let us know before they do. Uh, and she's really on top of them. Cal's there in case, hey, this person's had a few too many callbacks. This person's not had the best attitude. Let's send them back for a retrain with Kyle for a few days. Let's get their mind, right. Let's get, if they missed out on something in the training, maybe they forgot, maybe they got a little lazy. Let's give them a reset. And that's primarily what we use Kyle for outside of the initials. And of course, the original training as well.
Okay, so during the interview process, I know you're probably like, oh, the interview, but this is a big deal. Like people are really trying to find good people. What would you say like your top three questions are during the interview process?
Yeah, I like this question a lot. We really, our purpose behind every one of the questions we ask is not the answer they give us. It's just to get to know them. The more I get them talking, the better I know them. The less they talk, the more I feel like not necessarily that they're hiding something, but that how can I make a good judgment on hiring or not hiring this person because I don't really know them. But I can know some pretty well if they talk through my questions. I always follow up. So we always start with, "Tell me about yourself," just really vague. And then if they want to go into talking about themselves via work, that's about what they do half the time. The other time, it's just about them personally, and that's the biggest one for us. It's not a crazy question by any means, but I want to see what they think about themselves. I want to see if they're going to answer the question, because a lot of people just go, "What do you mean by that?" Or not much to know. Answer. You ask me another question. Like, it's very standoffish. But the people who have worked out really well for us, they talk through the questions. They're polite the whole time, and that's number one. That's what just always what we start out with, and then I'm going to ask them kind of about their work, what they've been doing previously. I want to find out if they left on good terms. I'm going to, hey, are you currently working right now, or what was your last job? They're going to answer. I'm going to go, how long ago was that, or why did you leave that job? And I want a pretty specific answer. If I ever get an answer on any question we ask, myself and our office manager, we go, tell me more about that, or what do you mean by that, or any follow-up question. I want to get to the end of their answer. A lot of people will cut you short with, oh, I just quit that place. Why did you quit? I want to get down to it. And a lot of times, if you really go down the rabbit hole of that, you'll find out, oh, they were fired for some reason, or, oh, they quit and they didn't put in a 2-week notice. And that really shows what they're going to do to our company, right? If they put in a 2-week notice, phenomenal. Like, they're going to do that with us, right? Because I know we're going to treat them well when they're here. And I just want to get to know people. The next question I always ask people is, outside of work, what do you like to do? And again, I don't really care what they say. I just want them to say something. I want to get them talking. I want to find out, are they a family person? Are they like going on hikes? They like being outdoors, whatever it is. You'd be amazed how many people just almost refuse to answer the question or just give you one-word answers. And everyone I've hired out of desperation who have not interviewed well like that have not worked out. And almost every single person who follows through on those answers, they're receptive to the questions. There's no right or wrong there. They just they're throwing out answers that are reasonable, and they're honest, and they seem authentic. Those people have worked out very long term for us. And that's kind of the route we go. We don't have anything that we expect like a right answer. We just want them to elaborate and show us who they are.
Yeah, and to take the time to answer those questions. Now, say for
Absolutely.
instance, if you're going through the interview process and you're like, I don't know, 7 minutes in, you're like, I'm not hiring this dude. It's not happening. How do you wind that interview down quickly so you can move on to the next and not waste your time?
That's a phenomenal question. We have a 2-part interview. So they don't come back a second time, but we have a list of first questions. And then I have for our office managers in there, she reads it. It goes, if you like this candidate, continue. If you do not like this candidate, wrap it up with this question. And basically, we're just asking them, hey, do you have anything coming up that would prevent you from working? What kind of work schedule are you looking for? Here's a little bit about the position. And then we ask them if they have any questions for us about the job. That's our wrap up. If we know we're not going to move forward with this client or this candidate, and then if it's someone we like, the conversation is going well, we're like, this person might work out well for a tech. We have a little bit more in-depth questions. Tell me about a time at work when you had a problem, solve something, things like that. A little more in depth. We want to get a little more out of them. Then we continue with the second part of the script.
It's cool because that was one issue that I had. I had this one interview that went like 45 minutes. It was so long. And I was talking to actual Levi, and Levi's like, so, like, are you going to hire that person? I'm like, no. He's like, well, when did you know? I'm like, I don't know, like 12 minutes in. He's
They
like, then
wouldn't
why'd you?
stop talking.
I don't know if it was her or me. I'm not sure, but it lasted it lasted way too long. So yeah, and I know our time's limited.
I've had that happen before. I had this little old lady come in, and first off, I already know, like, unfortunately, she's not physically going to be able to do the job. But I don't think I asked a single question. I don't think I said a single word. She just talked about her whole life, starting in like 1938. All the way to like right now. It was crazy. I was there for like an hour, but I felt bad because I could tell she just wanted to talk. Like, I could tell she didn't have family or friends, and she just wanted to get it out there. So we sat and talked for like an hour and like 15 minutes or something. It was definitely a waste of time, but there are people like that. They just want to chat your ear off.
I think I'm that person.
Dreaming of starting your own holiday lighting business? Bright Factory has you covered.
Introducing the ultimate holiday lighting business in a box. Get ready to light up your community with everything you need to succeed. A complete brand identity, a sleek website, and fully wrapped trailer jam-packed with supplies and equipment. We're talking top-notch uniforms, eye-catching marketing material, and world-class training. Plus, custom videos for your team to ensure they're ready to shine from day one. Ready to turn your holiday lighting dreams into a reality? Visit brightfactory.com today and let Bright Factory light the way to your success. All right. Well, so what does your business look like now, if you don't mind sharing with us?
Yeah, you kind of mean like structure?
Yeah, well, structure, size, because people like relatable. Like if somebody can be like, okay, well, I'm 2 paces behind Cole. I can
Yeah,
look up to him and maybe this is what I can achieve. Cause I will say this, when I was first like growing my business, it was really hard for me to wrap my mind around having 1,000 customers or 2,000 customers and growing it big.
absolutely.
Seeing John, seeing Stephanie from Turd Nerd, William and Levi have these massive businesses. It's a huge inspiration, and it kind of like gets rid of that doubt that this industry really you can have a large business in this industry.
Yeah, I could relate, and I use those people as motivation. Like when I was first starting, I'd use Mike, and then once we all found out about William and how he's killing it, now I'm using William, and I want to get to that level. Uh, that's exactly what I do as well. We are, let's see, we have myself, our office manager Emily. We have our lead tech Kyle. We just hired a commercial sales rep as well. She's part time right now, but as once we get our first contract with her, we're going to bring her on full time. And we're looking. I think last week we hit right over 1,000 clients between the two locations. So we have Albuquerque, and then we have Oklahoma City now. And Oklahoma
You
City
didn't
runs
have
under
that.
a different name.
You didn't
No, I
have that
didn't.
last time.
That,
Okay.
that's very new as of August. It's going well. Oklahoma City is they're a little tougher to crack. They're a little tougher people than they are here in Albuquerque. But we're growing. I think it's a very small location. I think we're at 55 or so. Uh, but it's going good. It's fun. It's exciting. And now come spring rush, ideally we're going to have 2 spring rushes, which is going to be phenomenal for growth. And we're running right into it.
I really hope we have a spring rush. I didn't have one last year because our
Really?
weather, we barely had any snow. And then I was down a scooper. So even if other companies had a spring rush, I don't know anything about it because I
Yeah.
couldn't take on any customers, anything extra.
You just stay kind of steady throughout the year.
Yep.
No
And
big jump.
no. And so that I was talking to my team. I said, listen, we have to have a really strong spring rush because, as you know, that's what sets you up for success for the rest of the year. So, when are you going to start marketing for your spring rush?
Yeah, we're already running. We I advertise very heavily throughout the year, and I double it down come November, really. So we've been hitting it really hard for the past week, and we're going to continue that all the way up till April. And we see big upticks. So while we don't really have a lot of snow here in Albuquerque, excluding today when we had a ridiculous snowstorm for no reason, uh, we get snow once or twice during the winter. But for some reason, people just hate the cold. They don't want to be out there when it's just freezing and it's ice and they can still see the poop in the backyard. So we are busy we uptick right now in November. We're going to go crazy in December, January, February, March, and then we'll slowly downtick in April. And then we'll be flat the rest of the year. So, like you mentioned, the spring rush is very important. It's important to prepare your team for it. It's important to prepare your company for the growth because if you go 40% over the course of 4 or 5 months, that could break some of the systems in your company. Maybe you won't be giving as good of service because you're just doing too many yards or you don't have the right training and you're bringing on too many techs. You really got to prepare like right now and last month to be able to prepare for the big spike in clients.
Are you doing organic advertising, paid advertising? What does that look like?
Yeah, we're trying to hit it all. And that may be a problem, but we're trying to hit it all. I was inspired by your door hangers. We got some door hangers made up now. We're going to have all of our clients here in Oklahoma, or all of our techs here in Oklahoma, pass those out over the next, probably from now until April, we're going to go really hard with it. And then Facebook, we're running crazy with it. We're spending far too much money on there, but it's good. It pays off. And then Google, we're running the absolute max we can. That's best advice for anybody that most people already know. You need to run the max you can on Google because those are people looking for your business. Those are people who want pooper scoopers. They're not window shoppers like Facebook people are. They want to sign up right now. You need to be running. You need to be using your competitors' names in there. Where you popping up at the top of them? Google's where it's at for sure. But there's only so many, right? Maybe there's 100 people a month who want pet waste removal on Google. You got to make sure you hit every single one of those. Max it out.
I've been getting a lot of movement on Nextdoor.
Really, I like that.
Yeah,
That's how I started. Actually, that's how I got my first 12 clients next door, and then I kind of abandoned it, but I should go back
you
because it
should.
works really well.
I think a lot of people forget about it, and so that's why it's good for the just for that
You're not
organic
talking about
local.
ads, right? You're not talking about ads, but you're talking about posts and referrals.
Just posts. I ran some
Oh,
ads in there and I did okay, but it wasn't great. And then I just started just creating posts with a picture of like a person, no dog poop, and then just putting dog waste removal over it. And
yeah.
the recent one that I posted got like almost 1,900 views and got a bunch of
Wow.
comments, and 2 leads came from that one.
That's
So I
amazing.
mean,
I like that. That's exactly how we started. Literally, I posted 5 or 6 times right in the beginning. I got my first 12 clients. That's how I'd recommend anyone start. And then, as we grow, you just get so busy that we did fall out of it just because. But not that we don't have time to make a post. We should totally be doing that. We didn't find much success with running ads on there, which we've done quite a few times. But the posts always work well. That's a great point.
yeah. So when you talk about Google and you said spend the absolute max, can you kind of give people kind of like what to expect? Like how much money should a company be spending on Google?
Yeah, so there's a limit. So you can't just say, I'm going to spend 5,000 this month, and you spend 5,000. Us, we're in a small market. We're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We put down 600 a month is our max spend. I believe it's 600, and then usually what we hit is about 400 of that gets spent because only so many people click, and you pay every time someone clicks.
Hmm.
Roughly here, we're looking at about 100 clicks a month given the time of year. And then I'm paying for every single click that gets done, and I can spend up to 600 if we're going crazy. I've never seen it hit that much, but I always set it that high because I want to have every possible opportunity to get in front of a client who wants service.
That's good. I don't think I have mine running right now.
You
There's a
gotta get
lot.
it running.
Listen, I had to let I don't want to say her name, but I had to let my main scooper go because she crashed 2 of my cars, and
I
then
heard that's awful.
like totaled them out. And I was just like wrecked. I was like, I don't even want to do this business anymore. Like this is really, really stressful type deal. But me and God, we got through it. We pushed through it. The car's finally, like the rest of it's finally paid off.
Good.
And I have a really solid scooper now. And he, like you were talking about, just asking questions to get to know them. And I just asked him, I said, what's your goal here? And he said he eventually wants to be like a supervisor or a lead technician.
Okay.
So he's looking long term here. So that is like very promising for me. I'm like, all right, cool. I have somebody solid. Let's hit it.
Solid with ambition too. That's amazing. That's
Yes.
what you want. You want someone solid who you can trust that they're going to take care of your clients. They're going to make a good impression, do the
Hmm.
yards well, and that they want some sort of ambition where if you grow, that's actually kind of a small problem that we're running into with our lead tech is he's such a great guy, but he has a family and he doesn't want like I even offered him our manager position when it opened up about a year and a half ago. He didn't want it because he has a cushy job, he just makes sure the yards look good and he can go home at 3:30 or 4. So finding someone with ambition is important because as we're growing, we do need more from our lead tech. So I think we're going to be bringing on a second lead tech who we have a kid who's been with us since he was 17 and now he's 20, I believe, or he's about to turn 20. And he's ambitious. He's a smart kid. He's a hustler. So you got to have someone who has the drive.
So, from like a technician, like ideally, what would you want fully out of a lead tech? Because I like, I get afraid to ask too much of people. So, give me an example of everything that you would want a lead technician to do.
Yeah, the where we're moving to, and we didn't need this before because I'm right here in Albuquerque. Our office manager is right here in Albuquerque. We don't really need the lead tech to do a whole lot here because we're right in front of our own employees. And as I'm sure you know with the pet waste, some days are nuts, and other days you're like, no one's called me in 3 days. Like, I'm just, why is my life so easy? And then you get hit by another insane day. Um, Now that we have a second location, I'm gonna go, is this scalable? And doing it the way we're doing it is not, because I don't live in Oklahoma. My office manager doesn't live in Oklahoma. So now we're gonna have a lead tech actually lead the team and not just have the title and a little more responsibility. So the way we're moving is our lead tech, they're going to run our office meetings. I want them to be the focal point of the team. Everyone, when they think they have a problem, they get to a yard and they forget how to do a combo lock, which is what we had happen last week. And we had to do a quick retrain on some schoolyard combo locks. They call the lead tech instead of calling our office manager directly. So that way we kind of have a scale up, and we're not just killing my ops manager's time, because guess what? We're running Facebook ads and Google ads, and we need her calling those people. We have projects we need to do. We have to do creative stuff. We have to create new systems. If we're getting our time eaten up by little tiny problems from the techs, and you'd be amazed at the small problems that do come up that some people just can't figure out how to solve. Uh, the lead tech should be fielding those calls, is the route we're moving. They should be running team meetings. They probably should be hiring as well, running the interviews, making the final decision if they like this person or not based on, criteria that you set for them. And then they report to you on a weekly basis, or even a twice a week basis, is the way we're moving on. Like Mondays, we'll have a meeting of, hey, this is what the schedule looks like going forward for the week. And then at the end of the week, we'll touch base on, hey, I'm just checking in to make sure you did all these things we said we were going to do. And just kind of like an accountability meeting to make sure we actually accomplished what we wanted that week. If something crazy happened, like today we had a snowstorm, we rescheduled like 120 people. That causes problems, right? So we're going to be fielding all kinds of phone calls and texts over the next few days of people who didn't see our text, and they're going to call us like 3 days from now, and they're going to be like, "You guys didn't show up a few days ago," just because they don't read their phone. And we need lead techs to handle that sort of thing, and then report up to the office manager, who then reports up to me as I work on kind of building out the systems of our company so we can support more growth.
I'm really glad that you're talking about like the stress, the kind of like the ebbs and flows of it, because I think some of us, we get so used to there not being any issues, and then when there is, it's like, what's going on in my
What did I
business?
do?
Yeah, why is it breaking? Can we talk about like expecting issues to happen and how to push through that and not let it stop you and bog you down?
Yeah, absolutely. It's more of just, the longer you run a business, the more you realize, like, you get comfortable in the chaos of it, and you hit a problem, and you're just like, well, I just got to solve the problem. Let me just focus on this for a little while, and then I'll get back once everything's clean and clear again. This is something I'm trying to really go over with my office manager, Emily. She's phenomenal. She's such a great office manager, but she freaks out when something small goes wrong because it doesn't go wrong very often. So, something bad happens. She's like, "What do we do?" And we're just kind of juggling things. And I'm trying my best to teach her, like, "Hey, this sucks, but the only way for us to get through it is to get through it. Like, we have to go and solve the problem, and then let's do our best to make sure the problem doesn't happen again." Was it a training problem? Was it? Did we mess up somewhere? How do we make sure we don't mess up like that again? And really, just it's just kind of grinding through it and just embracing the suck of it.
Embracing the suck. I like that. So with your office manager, what are some characteristics that you looked for in an office manager?
Yeah, she talks to the clients, right? So she's our front person. We're going through the same thing right now with the grooming. We're trying to hire a receptionist who's going to be there full time. They're going to be meeting all of our clients. They are who the clients think we are, right? So with Emily, I asked her to become our office manager once our first one left. She was at a very cushy job, and we were a tiny company at the time, like maybe 250 clients. It was a little too risky for her at the time, so she passed. And then she had her a job. Her job was coming to an end here, and then I finally got her about a year ago. She just celebrated a year with us. I look for someone who's bubbly, someone who's gonna take care of people, right? They're not just transactional. They're not they truly just enjoy chatting with people. And that really just in the clients, like they feel like they're taken care of by a small company. They feel good supporting us when times get tough. Hopefully we're the third or fourth person they cancel and not the first. Uh, it's really important. I would say personality trumps almost everything because I can train on almost everything else, right? I can train on organization. I can train on, let's say they're not the best on a sales call, overcoming objections. Like I can train on that. I can't train people on their own personality. So that's the main thing I look for in not only our office manager, but in our technicians as well, because they're in people's yards. I want to make sure they're doing a good job. I want to make sure when people talk to them, they're polite. That's the main thing. And then me and Emily have just been we do weekly trainings on everything. We go over phone calls. We go over, hey, I saw we had a big issue with this client. This is how you handle it. Hey, this is how I would handle it next time. And then we every single week we spend about an hour just going over situations like that. And but the reason she's working out so well is because she's a sweet human being, and she really that's her. She loves just talking to people.
Yeah, that is really big. I'm realizing like you're going through the experiences and then you're going back and you're assessing what happened and you're course correcting. And I think a lot of us we get so busy and then we don't go back and we don't try to like fix what the issues are. Um what can I ask you? So this is what Anthony wanted to know. There was a couple questions I got sent over. He wanted to know about your onboarding process when you're ramping up new employees.
Mhm.
What does the training process look like, and how long? How long is that training process?
That's a great question. And that's first off, I'm honored people even wanted to ask me questions. Uh, our onboarding is always evolving, but as of right now, it looks like after the interview process, we're going to move forward with that person. We always we'll give them a call. We'll let them know, hey, we're super excited to have you on the team. You're going to be getting a series of emails. We set them up through our payroll system. Gusto is what we use. And the nice thing about Gusto is you can have like your employee handbook on there. You can have, let's say, like a do not solicit, make sure people aren't trying to take your clients, which I did have someone do that recently. And things like that. So we run them through that. We make sure they're in the system, they're ready to get paid. We schedule their first day of training. The first day, we have a full kind of policy dash tips, tricks, everything you can need to know. I made 5 or 6 videos of just me talking about customer service, talking about how to handle an upset client, talking about anything you could really need. And we run them through that. It takes about an hour 15, hour 30, depending on if they have any questions. Once they're done with that, we send them out with Kyle for our lead technician for the day. He scoops with them, shows them what he does. You know, talks really nice about us. Kind of, he's building rapport, right? He people need to feel connected to their coworkers. They need to, and they need to understand the job well. So he shows them, scoops with them all day long, and then the last 5 they do by themselves. I want them to do the yards well. I always tell them, I don't care about your time in the yard. Make sure you do a good job. Speed comes with the use of the tools, understanding the yards, understanding the client. I really only care about quality. And they do those 5 by themselves. The next day, they come back with Kyle. They're going to go out again. He's going to do their first 5 with them, kind of giving them a refresher. Hey, make sure you're closing the gate right after you come in. There's no dogs go out. We're taking pictures of the gates. If a client talks to us, we're yes sir, yes ma'am. And then after those 5, they do the rest of the day by themselves. Kyle goes and he checks the yards after them. I want to make sure they can do a good clean yard by themselves. You'd be amazed how many people cannot. Uh, we want to make sure they're good. If they are good, fantastic. They're ready to go on their own the next day. They go on their own. They'll stop into the office before. We'll make sure we go over the route with them. Hey, watch out for this client. They have an unsafe dog. Watch out for this person. And we give them about 15 houses. That's a very slow pace for 8 hours here. So we really just ease them into it. We keep them about 15 to 17 for, I'd say, the first month. And then after that, we ramp it up with how quick they're moving. I would love for all of our techs to be able to hit 25 in 8 hours. If I really like the tech and I know they're taking care of our clients and they can only do 20, that's fine. We pay hourly. It works out in the end. My primary concern with everything is making sure we're taking care of the clients. And then the last thing with it, if they don't pass that second day, they're having a hard time, I will schedule a third day if I feel like that person is a phenomenal, like, cultural fit with us and they will work out. I will schedule a third day. If they can get it done by the third day, awesome. We'll move them on. If they cannot, then we do in employment, just because we found people who can't get it going by the third day. To be honest, they've never worked out with us.
No, that's excellent. Thank you so much. Because I mean, I've let people stay way too long, and then I had to terminate somebody in a backyard when we just
Oh wow,
decided that he wasn't a good fit.
you're hardcore. I like it.
Well, we were just back there and he's scooping. He was missing a lot. And I was like, "So what do you think? Do you think you're a good fit?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "I don't think so either."
You're
I'm
like,
like,
get out of here.
and I was like, "So let me just finish this yard up and then we'll go back to the office and
Close
we'll
the
do it.
gate on your way out.
Yeah, do what we need to do type deal." So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for answering that. And then he also asked another question. He wants to know, what did he learn about himself when he was a solo scooper transitioning to being a leader of an organization? And what skills have you developed to be a leader and lead your organization?
Yeah, this is something I've really been focusing on this year. I am traditionally, or not traditionally, I am historically bad at confrontation. I'm historically bad at correcting people. For me, rather take the passive route. I've always been like that my whole life. You can't do it as a leader. You will be the biggest pushover. I'm trying to get so much better at that. I have improved. I can have much harder conversations with people now. I don't let people, if they have bad habits going on, I will correct it where it is. That's definitely still something I'm trying to improve on. But that's the main thing, is you need to be able to have hard, direct conversations without having your feelings involved, without getting mad at the person, without it's very difficult. Little quick book plug is the 1 Minute Manager. Read that a little while ago, and that's helped tremendously. Yeah, that's for me. That's the biggest issue. There's probably so many more that I'm going to learn along the way. I'm 25. I that This is a phenomenal first business for me. It's slow growth at the beginning, and then you start to pick up, and you just learn so much along the way without burning your whole company down. And that's really what I'm focused on right now, is my own personal growth, and actually becoming a leader, someone who people will want to follow, and they feel good about the company and they feel good about me. Definitely something I'm still getting better at, but uh, being direct and forward and correcting problems where they stand has been a huge one. And that's what I'm getting better at, and that's what is needed for this.
So, what does that process look like before you're getting ready to have that difficult conversation? Like, how are you hyping yourself up?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually it comes with just bursts of nervousness until you get it done, and then everyone feels way better. That's what I found out, is you have a really crappy couple-minute talk, and make sure you start with the bad. And then if I really like this person, they just need a correction, and I know they're going to be a good team member. I start with the bad, and then I compliment at the end, and then we go our way. And I found, through taking me 5 years to learn this, I feel way better after. It's not on my mind anymore. It's not eating up my mental real estate. And then that tech knows I'm not a pushover. They have to do this, otherwise they're probably going to lose their job. And I know the clients are being taken care of better because we've solved the problem. Everything works way better. It's just a hard few-minute conversation. That's really all it is. You're going to be nervous up to it. I'm still nervous when I do it. And then once I do it, everyone feels way better.
Have you ever had a termination, like, freak out? Like,
Luckily, no. We've only fired maybe 4 people total. We It's not horrible for how many people we've actually hired, and I would say maybe 5 or 6 in there that let themselves out before they were fired because they just kind of saw it coming.
mhm,
But no, they've for the most part they've gone well. We don't fire without cause. I'm not firing people just because I don't like them. There has to be cause. We document the cause. That's very important to make sure people aren't coming back and suing you or uh, whatever. But so we kind of have a full process: verbal warning, second verbal warning, written warning with a plan to do better. And then if they don't, they know it's coming. Usually they're going to quit if they can't figure out that, like, hey, you can't leave a gate open, something like that. And it's like, this has to be corrected by X date. And if it's not, you're going to be terminated. They see it coming, they'll quit. Or if I do have to actually terminate based on that, it's gone well every time because I've given them so many chances that they're just like, I also saw this coming. Like, I understand. I have heard a lot of crazy stories though. And luckily I've not hit it yet.
yeah, I haven't had to deal with one. I always, like, in my head, I think I'm like, "This is gonna be the one that's gonna lose their mind," and then
Yep.
it's not, and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then you like you said, afterwards, you feel so much better because it takes up so much of your mental space, and you're thinking about all the different scenarios, and afterwards, you're like, "Huh, that wasn't even that bad."
Yeah. Yeah. You feel so much better after.
So, you're still I mean, you're so early in business, you're still so young. Like, what gets you excited right now? Like, what are you excited about with business?
Yeah. I guess I would start with I am a horrible employee. I worked multiple jobs coming in before this, and I would get really good at them, and then I'd be like, I can maybe get 1 or 2% better at this specific role, and then I'd quit because I'd be like, this is so boring. Uh, I need to be learning. I need to be able to see myself getting better at something to stay involved. And I'm 5 years in, and like, there's still like I can point out 100 holes in my business right now that I'm actively trying to correct. That's what keeps me excited. Uh, as long as I have something that I can improve and that I think, wow, I can drastically make my company better. That's what keeps me excited. It's partially about making money with business, right? But partial about like the freedom and just I can control what I learn. I can control where we go, and it really pumps me up. I'm still super excited about my pet waste business. I'm dabbling in a few other things at the moment, like the grooming, but uh, yeah, I'm just excited in general. I really enjoy it, and I'm excited to talk to you a year and a half from now and see where we'll be.
Yeah. Do you think, like, having people around you helps with that? Because let's speak to the person that's a solo scooper that is all by themselves. They're isolated. They service their properties and that's it. You barely even talk to the customers. Like, that's lonely. It's so lonely.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great point. It definitely matters. You need to be in communities. We To touch back on a lesser level, our technicians, we noticed a big turnover rate, and we implemented a Monday morning meeting where everyone had to talk with each other and they had to communicate and meet each other and know each other's names. And then we made a group chat where they can take pictures of cool dogs they meet in the field, and we saw our turnover drop dramatically. Everyone knows each other, they feel connected, and that's going to apply to the solo scooper as well. They need to feel connected to people who are just like them. They need to feel connected to other scoopers. Join all the Facebook groups there are. There's a million. Poop Scoop Millionaire. There's there's so many resources now that there weren't a few years ago that you should be in those. You should be chatting it up. You need to be using the search bar, looking up previous questions that I probably asked, 5 years ago, and I was asking ridiculous questions. You need to be asking those questions or chatting up someone like Erica or myself who's already made 8 million mistakes. And you could probably get to where we're at way faster because you'll be hurdling what we've already done without having to make those mistakes. Be in the communities because it's super lonely just out there scooping, listening to podcasts all day. Uh, you need to be talking to people doing the same thing that you're doing.
And then also, like, people that are ahead of you to help bring you up, and don't get intimidated. Don't, like, think like, oh, well, they're smarter than me. Well, they took the time to like learn and they found the people to learn the stuff. I know I faced a lot of intimidation. For some reason, being a female, I don't know what my problem is, but I just always thought that I don't know, I couldn't be as successful as some of the guys because I was a female. But
Yeah.
that's crazy. That was literally me stopping myself.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be the dumbest person in the room. Uh, Everyone in the room with you, they need to be smarter than you. They need to be doing bigger things than you. It should be motivating you. If it makes you feel bad, that's probably something you need to work on because
Facts.
the room you're in needs to be bigger than you. If you're the one guiding everyone below you, where's the room for growth? You're going to grow so slowly. You're not going to learn anything. Hang out with people who are twice the size of you. Once you hit their size, hang out with people who are twice the size of you again. Like always just be moving up. Like right now, because William's so in the space right now. He's out there, right? He's doing it and he's documenting it. It's an easy person to have motivation to follow and chase. Not in a I want to beat him way, but in a way I just want to grow myself.
Hmm.
That's kind of what I do, and always just put yourself in rooms where you are not the thought leader. Always, and they'll pull you up with you.
I love that. I feel like we could go on and on, but I've already kept you on here for like almost an hour. Um, let's go back real quick to you said your Monday meetings. What time are you doing your meetings at?
8 a.m. on the dot
And
every
how long do they
Monday
last
morning.
for?
Not long, no, about 15 minutes. We go over. We kind of have a little like a structure to them. I didn't at first, and they went horrible. And then we put a structure in place, and they've gone significantly better. Uh, so we start with like policy, any cool call outs. We had a client who, compliment one of our techs. We'll give them a like $5 gift cards to coffee places, things like that. Uh, we go over any big issues that we see in the company right now. Hey, we've had way too many people calling us telling you skip the yard and their gate was unlocked. Like, what are you doing? Are you being lazy? Are you not? Or if we have a glaring problem at the moment, we try and fix it right there in the huddle. Usually works. And then we have like a scenarios list to try and keep everyone kind of growing. So, because I don't, people will miss certain things in the training, right? Just by maybe they space out, whatever it is. I space out all the time. I understand. So we have a growing list of common scenarios tech could run into. I just ask two questions every single time. Hey, what do you do if you're in a yard and a client lets their dog out? Or what do you do if you get to a house? You have to go through the house, but you don't feel comfortable with the person in front of you. Little things like that. And then I let the other techs answer. If they cover it, awesome. I'm going to let it go. If they don't cover it in a way I don't like, I chime in and I'm like, hey, this is what I would do. This is what our policy is on this. And then that way, everyone has little things that in their head, just a couple, so that way they don't forget. If they run across it over the next few weeks, hopefully they remember what we went over and they can handle the situation without calling Emily or our lead tech eating up their time.
That sucks when you get like the phone calls about the same thing over and over again. Like a customer, his gate's locked and they won't answer. Well, policy, you're not going to wait more than 7 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. The same thing with us. We have 5 minute policy on that. Have
Yep.
you? They'll call us and we'll be like, "Have you knocked on the door? Have you texted them? And have you called them?"
Yep.
Oh no, I just wanted to call you guys. I'm like, we know the route. It's text or it's knock, call, text, and then we wait 5 minutes. We do cover it like 5 or 6 times a week. Uh, we kind of have to, but yeah, that's the kind of thing we try and squash in the Monday meetings. Uh, the overall primary goal of the Monday meetings, though, is camaraderie. I want people to see each other.
What if it's just you and one other technician in your garage? Can you still do that?
Probably more important because that one tech is a huge part of your business, right? They're covering 75% of your clients. You need to be more in touch with them than probably anybody. You need to have a great relationship because they could burn you real bad.
Yeah, seriously. What's your thought on possibly okay, you're the boss, you run the meeting. What about having like a different technician run the meeting each week to help them build up their leadership skills?
That's a great idea. We're moving towards the way where we want our lead tech to run the meeting because we do have the multiple locations now, so it's just not scalable for me to run both meetings. So we want our lead tech to run it, but having different techs run it's a phenomenal idea. I bet that would work extremely well.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm gonna implement that because my new guy, I won't hear from him at all. I'll be like, Charles, you still work for me? And he's like, yeah, everything's great. What's up? I'm like, I haven't heard a peep from you. Like, he's like, yeah,
Yeah,
everything's
and
just
you
smooth
won't.
sailing.
You gotta check in with them. And it makes them feel better because they're like, oh, the boss isn't forgetting about me. They care about me. They're checking in. They're making sure I don't need anything.
Yeah.
It's going to boost their morale. They're going to do the yards faster. They're going to do them better. You should definitely be. That's something I really lack at because I'm very introverted. Like I want to sit in my office and work on my systems in the business and then hand it over to the person who's way more bubbly than me, which is our office manager, who wants to get it out there. And I notice a huge morale boost when I call our lead tech once a week and I'm like, hey, dude, how are you doing? How's your kid? How's life? Uh, they really care about it. It's really important, especially if you're a solo scooper and you have someone taking care of most of your clients. You should probably be checking with them once or twice a week at least, just to keep their morale up and know that you care about them.
Yeah, have that phone conversation. That's great. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up, but we do have a lot, as you know, there's a lot of new scoopers coming into the space. Social media is getting a lot of action. So, do you have one word of advice for somebody new that's thinking about starting this business?
Yeah, absolutely. Consistency. You're going to have from last April to right now, we've basically just been flat. We've lost and we've gained, but we haven't grown much. And then we'll have a big boost from now to April. But you have 6 months in your own head while your business is staying flat. Try and think of it on months and years instead of how you're doing on a day-to-day basis, which will eat up your mental space. You'll feel bad. Stay consistent. Go scoop your yards. Make sure you're advertising. Make sure you're getting your name out there, and do it every single day. Every single day, and look back 3 years from now, and you're going to have a great business, and you're going to be killing it.
Yeah, and even if you don't feel like posting that day because whatever, don't it doesn't matter about your feelings. Get out of your
No,
feelings, make the post. Even if it's just a picture of a dog or a meme or something, just post something on your pages.
yeah, stay relevant. So that way, that client who no longer works with you, they're still following you. They're going to see those posts, and they're going to come back a year later, and you're going to have another client. It's If you just let your feelings dictate what you do all day long, you're not going to have a very successful business. Consistency, just do it every day.
Yeah, this is great. It was so nice to catch up with you again. You've grown so much and you were already mature back then, but you're like even more mature now.
You're sweet. Thank you so much. I'm
This is
excited to be on.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it because you were driving through like a snowstorm and you didn't cancel. And that shows a lot that like you said you were going to do this and you showed up. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate having me on. Hopefully, I'll see you in a year and a half, and we'll be a little farther along.
Heck yeah. Hopefully the podcast is growing, but hopefully the
Podcast is
podcast.
killing it. You're
Yes.
doing amazing, Erica. I love watching your stuff. The production is way better every single week. It's awesome watching you grow. I'm very excited for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for, filling me up, I guess. 'Cause sometimes we need to have our cups filled because like you said, I'm kind of an introvert as well. My husband will be like, "Hey, Erica, do you want to come out and like talk?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to talk.
I've talked enough.
I've already talked enough on social media." And he's like, "Yeah, but like talk to me." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Sounds good." All right. Well, cool. Thank you so much and we will definitely chat soon, okay?
Thanks, Erica.
All right. Bye.